Hi, welcome to the absolutely improvised monologue. For those just joining the party, my name is Paul Burrell, and what I do is people give me one word prompts. Might be through Facebook, might be a phone call, might be through YouTube, down there. And then I use that one word to create a monologue. I've been doing this since about April. Now, what happens is, what happened was, I should say, in April, I did the first one, and then I started to do different things, experiment. Somewhere along the way, this character of Pork Chop became kind of a staple. Everything I got, I turned back to a story about him. Pork Chop is a middle class guy from McKinley Park in Chicago. His wife, Gail, the most beautiful woman on the planet. His son is Pork Chop Jr. His daughter is Gail Jr. His two best friends are Elton and Kick. And so over the past few months, we've had a lot of stories about Pork Chop. So I'm working with some people to maybe develop Pork Chop into something bigger, perhaps like a little coffee table wisdom of Pork Chop book, or a web series, The Gospel According to Pork Chop. So if you have ideas or if you have a talent you want to lend, get me down there in the information or find me on Facebook. Um, we're going to go slow over the winter and into the early spring and build a pork chop empire. Anyway, today's prompt is down there like usual. Here we go. So the hardest part about living in these turbulent times is that I'm doing it alone. Now, I ain't whining, I ain't complaining. I'm just telling you because I want you to have my good advice. My pop and my mom, before they went south, literally, physically went south, uh, they always gave me good advice. Sometimes I asked for it, sometimes I didn't. Never stopped them. But I got to tell you, you take care of you because here's the thing. So, Pork Chop Jr. is in New York. He and his husband are dancing in some shows. They're having the time of their life. Then, of course, when this thing hit us and they had to kind of slow down, it was okay because they had each other, you know what I'm saying? You got to have somebody you love. Me, not so much. I got Judge Judy and Twinkies, but more on that later. So Gail Jr. Gail Jr. is doing okay. She met a guy. They had a few dates. They started to like each other. They started getting closer and closer. The COVID hit. They mostly do the electronic, the robot stuff, cybergenics on the phone, right, to communicate. Because they don't want to get out. They're starting to get out a little bit. But you know, well, me, I got Elton and Kick. Kick won't leave the house because his grandmother is petrified. His grandmother has the groceries flown in and she cooks. Well, who's going to leave? Your grandma's cooking, pasabazoo? You don't leave. You stay in and you're okay with that. Eldon, he and his wife, they don't need, they don't need nothing. They get their groceries brung in. They do their thing. They have each other. She has books. He has YouTube. That great and powerful mind breaker to YouTube. Anyway, so I'm thinking maybe it's time to get a dog, or a bird, or iguana, because they need love. I need love. They need to get fed. I need to feed people. It's in my GPA that I got to feed people. So so I stick to the TV and I listen to the governor Fred frickin' Flintstone tell me that I can't go out of my house. I got to wear a mask. Believe me, when I wear the mask, a lot of people are happy. That's all I'm saying about that. But it's a little different when you're by yourself. So find a way to get somebody who's going to love you and be grateful. You know what I'm saying? I can't afford a Great Dane, so I'm going to get a really good Dane. That's my plan.